Welcome back to the Make or Break Shop. This week we're talking about 6 things that I did wrong when I built my first farmhouse table. All right, so I've had a couple of tables that I've been working on for some friends, and instead of giving you just kind of the normal farmhouse table build, which there are tons of them, I've included some great links below. I wanted to walk through 6 things that I did wrong the very first time I built my table. So, this is the table that I initially built. You guys can see this thing was pretty good. It looks pretty good from the outside, but really when you get into how I put it together, there are several things that I wish I did differently. So let's jump in and check it out. All right, so one of the biggest things I wish I did different on my very first table is actually jointing the edges. This is just a little small benchtop jointer, but what it does is it allows me to get this square. So when I put the 2 pieces together, you actually have no gaps, unlike, so you guys can see there is a gap in between the edges of the top. When I first made this, I used pocket holes. Pocket holes are totally fine, but I didn't just cut off the edges. Lots of food gets stuck in between here, and that was one thing that I did differently on this time around because I am using a planer and a jointer to get everything smooth and square. And then even if you guys don't have that, you could just take it through the table saw and cut off that edge, and that'll make it a lot easier. So as I'm dimensioning the lumber, now that I've got this, I'm gonna take it back to the planer and run it through so I get pretty smooth surface on all sides and I don't have to sand it down a ton. Another thing that I did not do well is when I actually attached the top together, this thing shakes like nobody's business. The problem was I did not use any wood glue between the joints. I'm going to use wooden dowels, and the dowels are gonna go in between these and then glue it together. Make sure and use that glue. Not only are we using wood glue, this is something I didn't even realize was a deal. When you actually put these pieces on, the direction of the grain, how the circle's going, you wanna offset that. So with this one is going, well, it's actually going like this. The shape is going like that, and you wanna alternate those. So if something does cup up, the other one is cupping the other direction. So instead of the entire table cupping one way, you've got them working against each other so that hopefully for the most part it's gonna stay pretty flat. So that is something also I had zero clue was even a thing. All right, so another thing that I did for the very first table that I built is I had a breadboard, and this is a board that goes at the very end. And I'm guessing they call it a breadboard because maybe back in the day, this is where you would put your bread and there would be a board for it. But the idea is this helps with the wood movement. These are 6 different pieces of wood. They're going to expand and contract at a little bit different rate. So right now everything is flush and everything it looks great. Maybe in the winter, these are gonna be different kind of depending on the moisture level and just how the wood works. At least that's the best that I understand. So this idea is this, you put this over, and so all of this contraction and expansion is going to happen inside of this gap. Now, when I built it on the other table, which you guys can see right now, I just screwed the breadboard into the side. I did it more for the looks versus anything else. So with this guy, what I've done is I have used the router to get this groove. It's about 1 inch deep. Then going down this channel, like the Death Star, this will slide in. And when I glue it, I'm only gonna do glue in the very middle. So that gives this opportunity to expand and contract and do what it's supposed to do. And then there are pins that go in and that helps hold it all together. So everything's drilled out. Now all I gotta do is add the glue, pin it in, we're good to go. So something else I did not do the first time was flatten the table. Actually, I tried to use a hand plane, but as you guys can see, there were a ton of grooves and marks inside of it because I really didn't know what I was doing. So this time around, I am going through with a number 4 I'm going through, I'm flattening this whole surface, and then I'm gonna go back with the palm sander and get it really flat. So a really good top surface. So getting underneath the table, instead of just doing wood glue or screws, I actually did long bolts that went through. So on this one, these are literally just screws that I just covered up at the very end. That was just with wood putty. But you guys can see on the other table, I actually made some wooden dowels from the wood and I plugged these holes. All right, so those are the 6 things that I did wrong on the very first farmhouse table that I did. I hope you guys don't make those mistakes. I would love to know in the comments down below, what are some of the tips you guys have found when you are building your tables? If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. That would be awesome. You guys can also check out some other builds right over there. And I produce a podcast called The Make or Break Show with makers from all over the community. So until next time, go make or break something in your shop. See you guys.